Oh, durka durka durka.
Welcome, friends, to another shitty review of a knife you never heard of. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a shittier than usual review. Just going to put that out there. So you may want to allocate your time appropriately. Kizer Sub-3 OBK. Whoa, messed that up. Okay. Got this knife today, used. So as far as any kind of this is a first impressions review, and don't trust my viewpoint about what this is like as an EDC because I've had it for 12 hours. So I bought this off Knife Swap on Reddit, and I think it's a fairly recently, I should have looked at this, but I think it's been reviewed within the last year or so. I keep up on budget knives pretty well and never heard of it. So Kizer Sub-3 OBK, I saw it on the swap. Here we go. Come on, focus. So it's Sub-3 is for the less than 3-inch blade. Mikey Carlson is the designer. I don't know his stuff. Not that I know much about this. So 154 cm, everything's blacked out, and we got the crossbar lock / clutch lock, which feels pretty good. I actually bought this knife. So I don't know, the side story here, which is not very interesting, obviously, is this was the first quote-unquote good knife that I EDC'd, this Benchmade Mini Griptilian. I did a bunch of research on the internet and, got what I thought at the time was a good choice. In hindsight, I wonder, I think it feels too small. I think it's way overpriced like most Benchmades. And I think the half serrated thing is kind of weird and wasn't a great choice. But anyway, in the aftermath of not loving this knife, I think I sort of penalized other crossbar lock knives. And so I have about 50 knives right now, but probably 10% of them or fewer are crossbar lock. I have this clone of the Benchmade 940, which doesn't have a very good action on the crossbar lock. And then I have this Real Steel Sacra, which definitely mixed feelings about this knife. Crossbar lock is okay, but when I say okay, and then the original Benchmade, which this is not a fun knife to fidget with. Maybe I could tune it, but I'm never gonna carry it again, so I won't. Now I get that that's a very small sample size, and I wouldn't trust my opinion about crossbar locks, but this Kizer is quite nice. Just has a lot more like controlled feeling to it than these three. Either this is pretty stiff, but just tune in the middle where you can feel like you can control it with the spring here like this. But if you want it to go fast, you can. So anyway, it's tuned really well. I like it. Been messing with it all day, one day. The blade, you should be able to get away with this wherever in terms of the sub 3-inch. Now, the handle, so it looks a little small. I tend to like bigger knives just for sort of the appearance of it. But as far as the practicality of it, this has a nice grip. I have medium-sized hands. I think most people would feel this is comfortable. Blade is a little small, but it's very practical. The crossbar lock is practical. So interesting so far. Now, I bought this thing for 45 bucks. It seems like it's very hard to find on the internet. Maybe they just made a small run. It didn't go that well. It's in that weird thing where sometimes when knives or when any product doesn't sell that well, you can get it for really cheap. Or maybe it's down to a handful of retailers and you can't get it for cheap because there's no competition. So that seems to be the case in this. Currently, this is April 2025. And this knife is actually 89 bucks seemingly. Well, I didn't pay that. I paid 45 bucks. I'll just tell you that I like it for, I like this knife for maybe 60 bucks or less. Not sure that I would go too much above that, but because Kizer has great sales, right? So you know you're gonna be able to get some good shit when they want to get it off. You know, they want to be done with it. You can get it less than half of their MSRP from them, okay? And that doesn't seem to be the case with this one. And I think maybe it's just because they didn't have a lot of inventory to unload, so they don't have to do much with it. But blah blah blah. I think it's. I'm gonna keep carrying it. I like it. In terms of the looks, so it's aluminum, and this is the ProTech TR3, which I believe is titanium. Should really know that. But these feel quite similar in terms of the finish. They have this kind of slightly soft, fuzzy feel to the aluminum or to the metal. And so I think you're getting a really nice premium finish here. So that's the knife I have that's similar. So in terms of size, if you're curious about that kind of thing, how about a clone of the PM2, just to be heretical, fully PM2, sorry, PM3. The PM3, the Para 3, a little bit bigger, is a little bit bigger than the Sub-3 OBK. Here's that Benchmade 940 clone, also a little bit bigger. So I like this knife here, the Migron Moyarl. Sorry, the fuck, I told you it was gonna be a bad review. This is the Migron Pagos 2, and I, for whatever reason, carry this knife, and it's just slightly longer. And then aforementioned real steel Sacra. And then how about this Civivi Elementum, the most unique of all knives, in shipwreck carbon. Pretty similar, actually. Yeah. Whoop. So that's actually a pretty good comparison there. Pretty similar. A little bit more handle on the Kizer than the Civivi, which you could argue is a little more practical. Flat grind, thumb studs. I'm horrible at flicking. Come on, bro. Reverse flicking crossbar locks. It's like a disability here. But it's got really nice action. I don't know much about crossbar locks, but I want there to be some kind of medium level of tension, so we're good there. Size is pretty good. Let's see here. Can it cut paper? Well, let's see. Oh, see, Neves knives, so good at that. Oh my gosh, it's got way better wrist action than I do. Well, that's that, folks. The Kizer Sub-3 OBK, which you cannot find on the Kizer website. I find that very interesting. I find that they've they made a few of them. They sent them all out. You can still get it over here at KnifeWorks for that 89 bucks. I guess MSRP on it was 119. Interesting, just that this is just a quiet little knife that came and probably went without a lot of fanfare, but sorry for reviewing a knife that might be hard to get, but I mean, if you really love it, I guess keep an eye out on Knife Swap. So yeah, congrats on making it through another video.